when you get the strings, okay, so you gotta unfold these anyways. When you get the strings, one of the strings is bigger than the others. That's gonna be the string that's used as the wrap to wrap around all the other 6 strings. So you don't want to use the smaller one. The smaller ones they stay the regular. You know what I'm saying? So that's when it comes to the strings. Okay, so it's got to lay down. Okay, so now let's start. Here we go. Oh, now we're talking. Okay. Okay, so let's start now. Avi will be here in a few minutes. Can't wait. Okay, we're in a special edition right now of how to make tzitzis. Right? We're not talking about how to make the beged because that's already a different thing. But how to actually put the tzitzis strings in the beged. So now, before we actually start, we must speak out briefly a few ideas which are essential and fundamental to know how to make tzitzis. Number one, there's something called ניפוץ. ניפוץ means what? ניפוץ, we learned it a while ago. What's ניפוץ? Nefitza. That's the combing of the actual strings. Which means, if you look in the Per Halacha, page 48, picture 2, when it comes off the sheep, the wool, so it has to be, doesn't have to be, but it's a discussion whether it needs to be combed or not to get all the gook out of it and the bad stuff. So the Ramah in Simin Yud Aleph, Sif Aleph, again, this is all stuff that we previously learned in, which is on the recordings. It says, Yesh machmirin afilu lenafsan lishma. Those that are stringent, that you have to do ניפוץ, even lishma, you have to do the ניפוץ. The minhag lahakal b'nifuts. The custom is to be lenient when it comes to ניפוץ, that it doesn't need to be done lishma. But there's a chumrah to do it. So the Mishnah over there, Sefkat and Gimel, brings in the Prisha that says, L'chachila yesh lahachmer l'nafetz lishma. L'chachila, preferably one should be stringent to comb it lishma. Does anybody want paper? Okay. Now, these citrus strings that I bought they do have ניפוץ. They're more expensive, around 2 or 3 times more expensive. It's not so pricey. This has ניפוץ. Now, on the container, on the bag of where I got the tzitzis from, they come like this. They're rolled up. So it says on the bag, Horas Kibitza, which means this is an instruction of how to do laundry the proper way when it comes to these special tzitzis strings, or tzitzis strings in general. The idea is the following. They bring Lakabetz Biyad B'mayim Postrin. This is what you call hand wash, lukewarm water. You don't just put tzitzis strings in a washing machine. Okay? Lukewarm water, hand wash, especially with the ניפוץ. That's the idea, that's when it comes to the ניפוץ, whether you need it or not. Most tzitzis that is bought, probably I would say, is not ניפוץ that is bought. But it's a nice thing to do to have it. That's the ניפוץ.
So only ניפוץ have to be hand washed or something?
No, everything should really be hand washed. But that's just what they write on this bag at least.
There's one special little unit now you put into the washing machine. It's supposed to protect the tzitzis in the washing machine.
If you have a special protective tzitzis mode on the washing machine, then go for that also. You don't have that? No.
Regular tzitzis are not ניפוץ.
Regular tzitzis are not ניפוץ. Yeah, if you get them regular.
$13
If you just get them regular, they're probably not going to be ניפוץ. You'll notice by the price difference. You'll notice.
So it's b'diavad kosher.
I wouldn't call it a b'diavad because the Ramah says the minhag is lahakel. The minhag is to be lenient with the ניפוץ. The Mishnah Berurah says that l'chachila you should. That's on the ניפוץ. Next, let's talk about the kashira. The kashira is the knot, and that's really the first thing that a person needs to do when getting tzitzis. So the question is like this. A lot of times by the tzitzis strings, you see at the end, it gets tangled. What's the word? Frayed. Frayed, that's the word. It untangles, that's the word. It untangles from the top. So the question is, what does a person do to prevent this? There's really 2 options and 2 options only. That is either to tie a small knot at the end, or, like we're going to discuss soon, is going to be the second option. So what's the story with tying knots? So the Ramah in Simin Yud Aleph, Sif Gimel says, L'chachila tov l'kasher hachutim lamata. Preferably, you should tie a knot over here, so it won't get entangled. That's what the Ramah writes. The Be'er Heitiv brings over there, Sifkat and Gimel, that the tzitzis of Rabbeinu Shmuel Maluchi were lo hayikeshuim. They weren't tied. The Be'er Heitiv says not. Mishnah Berurah brings a chen shamash to havikim also Lesham rafadi meim shazur yafad lo shkiach shkichi sheyisparku. Mishnah Berurah says, listen, You could be adding on to the knots. We only have a certain amount of knots that you're supposed to have over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just could be adding on to the knots. So you shouldn't maybe do the knots. The Shuir wants to suggest. So how do we hold at the end? So the Piskei Tshuvas Nos Yudalid brings Imroim Shashaziro Fefes Va'olu his parit. Let's see a person sees that it's very weak and it's probably going to get detached. The person sees, it's evident that now it's going to get frayed and untangled. It's going to get tangled. So the question is, what do you do? For sure you should tie it. You don't need to be stringent whatsoever. You could do another tactic. What you do is you could take the corners of the tzitzis strings and you insert them on a sticky type of substance. What I did over here is already around 4 or 5 days ago, I took clear nail polish and took the brush for the nail polish and brushed approximately an inch worth from the corner of the tzitzis. So if you feel the tzitzis string, what are you going to notice? You're going to notice that it's hard. That's what the nail polish does, and then you do not need to worry that it will get undone because you have this hard material on the tzitzis string. You don't need to worry about it getting undone. If you want, you could actually touch it just to see that it's hard. You could feel the end. You could feel that it's hard. That's the trick, the nail polish. Then you don't need to really worry about it whatsoever. Now, I have to say something which is very important when it comes to nail polish on tzitzis. This works, but only up until a certain point in time, which means 6 years later, believe me, the nail polish is out. Approximately how long does the nail polish stay? It could depend exactly how the nail polish is made. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert in nail polish, okay? But l'chayra, there's more geshmaka nail polish, so to say, and less geshmaka. You got to talk to other people about these in yanim. The point is what? That some nail polish is better than others and will last longer than others. So the trick is that once you see that the hard structure and result of the nail polish is wearing out, that's basically saying, okay, now you need to take the tzitzis off, or when you take them off at night, before you go to sleep. So next time what you do is wear another pair of tzitzis the next day, re-nail polish your tzitzis strings. You could do that without a problem. That's the trick when it comes to they don't get undone. That's what it is. So that's the idea with the nail polish. That's the strings. Good. Now, the clear nail polish. Good. We discussed that. Yeah. Now, one other point which the Piskei Tshuvas brings in footnote 84. Yesh li zaher ma'od shel lasos keshar melu b'shavas teim b'chlal kesher shel chayama asr min atorka v'vor simin shin yod zayin. Even if you don't do the nail polish and you go back to do the keshara making the knot, which Mikra Hadin could work, on Shabbos you are not allowed to make a knot here. So kesher shel chayama, that's called a permanent knot. Not allowed to do that. The Raman simin shin yod zayin discusses this. So you cannot make the knot on Shabbos. Very important. That's it. Next. What about the thickness or thinness of the tzitzis strings when you buy them to the store? Halacha l'maisa. They ask what type of strings do you want. So the Mishnah Bruin Simin Yud Aleph Sifkoton Ayin Aleph, which we also learned. All these we learned in the past. Tov la'aso sachutim beinonim lo avim lo dakim. Best is to make medium-sized tzitzis strings. Not too thick, not too thin. Now, it's noteworthy to point out when you go to the store to buy tzitzis and you say, can I have medium-sized tzitzis strings? They say, sorry, we only have what? Thicker thin. So this, obviously, if it's not possible to have the middle size, so then you do whatever you could.
So which way do you opt then? Thick or thin?
So which way do you go up, thick or thin? It seems like there's really no preference. From Pashtus to the Mishnah Berurah. It seems like only Benoni is the way to go, and then that's it. That's what it seems like. Yeah. That's the thickness. Good. Now, there's a massive, and this is going to be one of the bigger things that we do. There's discussion before and prior to inserting the tzitzis strings, the chutim, in the hole of the garment. This garment already 3 out of 4 holes were done. We have 1 left. What is the story with the Lesham tzitzis, and what about Lesham mitzvas tzitzis? So the answer is, the Mishnah Berurah Siman Yud Daled, Sifkot in the Chet says, Sarich li zohir lichatchila. Preferably one needs to be careful. Kodem hatoliya babegid shiyotzi besfasim. Before, prior to, you insert the tzitzis strings in the corner of the garment. So you should say before. You should make sure to do the following. This is really before we do anything. We always do it before. What should you say? Befeirish shetola koleilu tzitzis l'shem tzitzis. You should say it mefurish, explicitly, verbally enunciate. I'm doing it l'shem tzitzis for the sake of tzitzis. Which means I'm not just putting strings in a garment over here. This is l'shem tzitzis. That's what you got to say. Now, in the Kobeitz Igros, actually, these are the letters from the Chazon Ish. So it's brought over there, Chelak Aleph and Igra Yud. Because you really ask a question and say, L'shem tzitzis? Most people say L'shem mitzvas tzitzis. What does this mean, L'shem tzitzis? I never heard of such a thing. So the Chazon Ish over there writes in his Chelak Aleph Igra Yud, L'shem mitzvah tzitzis. There it is. The Chazon Ish says you don't just say L'shem tzitzis. You say L'shem mitzvah tzitzis. So that's the whole discussion. Where does the L'shem mitzvah tzitzis actually come from? Because Bashas, you learn the Mishnah, it's only L'shem tzitzis. It's a Chazon Ish. So now, the Be'er Halacha, which we discussed over there in Siman Yudal, Dibur Hamaska below Kavana, goes into nearly Dafilu Ima Kavana Leshma Lohaya Rak Betalia Sitzis Rishona Ve'ashar Hitil Bestama, which means like this. He made the first corner and he put it in the first corner. And he said it explicitly. He had the right kavanah. Then the rest he didn't really think about it. He just said stam kavanah. He didn't think about having kavanah. It should be done specifically for tzitzis. What's the story? Still okay, and you can make the bracha after. When he does it, he's doing it on the first intent. Brings a raya from Tosfos and Zvachim. Go back to that recording, you'll see when we discussed it. So it would be okay.
Really, you should, every time you put another string in, you should think you should ask for tzitzis.
Yeah, you should have it. Yeah, you should have it. You should realize that you're doing it l'shem tzitzis.
Can't you, I mean, I remember we spoke a while ago about rely on the fact that like there's no other way of thought process while you're doing it. So therefore,
Right. So
it's for no reason, like obviously you're doing it for a minute.
exactly, which means, why do you need to have kavanah over here? Why else would you be putting strings through a hole in a garment over here? Obviously, you're doing it for tzitzis. So could we just rely on it? Based on the Chai Adam over there in Siman Samach, on the sugi of mitzvahs, hilchos, kavanah or no? I think the Mishnah Berurah brings it in Sifkot and Yud, if I'm not mistaken. That's the Chai Adam. Which means, why else am I shaking lulav? Rather, for sure, I'm shaking lulav right now to fulfill my obligation on sukkahs. I'm not shaking lulav to poke David in the eye with it, right? So therefore, what? So therefore, yeah. Could you say that or not? So it seems like from Mishnah over here, preferably you should say L'shem tzitzis. You should verbally enunciate it. Or L'shem mitzvahs. It's just whether you go like the Chazon Ish or the Mishnah Berurah. Whichever one. So now, the Piskei Teshuvos brings a case in Oz Dalet. Achim, but I hear the point. Like, why do you even need to say it? I hear what Moshe is saying. Achim Oz tzitzis bebeged acher sarich shuv kavanah lishma. Once you go to a new garment, then you need to have kavanah lishma. So, for example, let's say you have a guy like Avi, right? So he makes tzitzis in Judaica plus. So now he's got multiple begadim that he makes them on. So that second beged, l'maisa, you have to have the kavanah that you're doing that what? The shem tzitzis. You have to have that kavanah again. You're doing it again in the shem tzitzis. So kavanah lishma. Only if there was a hefsek after. It's an interruption of time, diversion of the mind. You went on your lunch break. Now you come back. You need to have that kavanah again. If you're just making tzitzis back to back, then you don't need to worry about it. Yeah. Now, what about another person taking over what you started? So in footnote 27, it's brought. If another person is taking over now, your kavanah doesn't help. He needs to have a new type of kavanah. It's a new person. He's doing a new action. That's what it is. And actually, this is really going like what Moshe said before. Rav Shlomo Zalman Auerbach in Alicha Shlomo Perek Gimel Oschaf Alf Hamatil Chuti Hasitzis Vonis Kaven Beferish L'Shem Mitzvah Sitzis. Someone puts the strings in the garment. You didn't have them befurish explicit kavanah. He's doing L'Shem Sitzis. Eino Sarech Lachzor Velitlos Testam Lishma. You don't need to go back and do it again. Because like we said above, it's stama lishma. Yeah, of course you're doing this Lesham since it's right now. That's what you're doing. So you would not need to go back if you didn't have his kavanah. Preferably, you have his kavanah. If you didn't, that's okay. It'll still be okay. That's the idea. Yeah. Good. Now, what about the length of the talus? Next point. How long does it need to be? Or should it be? The length of the actual garment itself. Talking about a talus katan now. So the Mishnah Berurah and Siman Tez, again, all of these things that we're doing are directly related to when you're purchasing the beged, the garment itself, the chutin, the strings itself. What are the questions that you're asking for in the store? They ask you what size do you want. All of these questions are directly related. So the shuir of the Talus Mishnah Berurah Siman Tez Zayin Sefkat and Dallas says minag anshe mais siladaktik shebo amma milofonov amma lachor. Minag is to have an amma in the front area of the beged and an amma in the back. That's what it is. What about the hole in the tzitzis where my head's popping through right now? Right? It's not sealed the whole way through. The nekev basis of our anal minion. The whole area that doesn't count of the cheshbon. Now the Chazon Ish, which we discussed over there, argues on this and says that no, it does count. So one could rely on the Chazon Ish. The Chazon Ish says it counts. I'll go upon him. At least don't diminish, don't do less than 3/4 of an amma of length on all sides. Don't do less than 3/4. What does that mean? Which means like this. Can't be less than 3/4 of one amma. An amma is 6 tvachim. So we'll say the exact inches in a moment. If it is less than, you need to worry maybe about a bracha levatala. It could be a problem. If you convert those two shirim, an amma in front, amma in the back, or 3/4 amma in the front, 3/4 amma in the back, this is what it turns out to in inches. In the length, according to the more lenient opinion, either, because it's a machlokas how much an amma is, based on how much a tefach is, either it's going to be 13.5 inches or 18 inches, while the second opinion, which is the amma in front, amma in the back, is going to be 18 inches or 24 inches. That's the length. The width is not really brought down as much, maybe according to the first opinion, that says 13.5 and 18 inches, it's going to be 9 inches or 12 inches. It's usually more on the length. That's what we're discussing. That's the inyan on the length. What about the kerichos? The kerichos are this area, the wraps, or the chulia. How many do you need? So that depends upon which one. The Shulchan Aruch in Siman Yod Aleph Sif Yod Daled says the minog is on the first wrap to make v'nohagim lakarich be'avir rishon sheva kerichos. What you do is you do 7 wraps. That's what you do on the first wrap. The second wrap, moving along, the Shulchan Aruch writes ubesheni teisha. Then you do 9, and the third wrap, achasasara, you do 11 wraps, and on the fourth one, shoshasara, you do 13 wraps. The Mishnah Berurah Sefkat and Tess over there says a little bit different. He says, I'll agree with you on the first wrap, you have 7. On the second wrap, the Mishnah Berurah says you have 8. That's what changes right there, the second wrap. The third wrap, the Mishnah Berurah agrees, says 11, and the last one is going to be 13. This is made according to the Mishnah Berurah's psak, which is only 1 wrap different than the Shulchan Aruch's psak. Now, that's everything pretty much so far in terms of halachas that are directly related to making the tzitzis. What it is noteworthy to point out is that there are several different types of tzitzis that are made. You have Ashkenaz, the Sfard way to make it, Sfardi, Sfardim, and you have the Chabad also has a way. You have the one with looks like a staircase going up. This is the standard Ashkenaz tzitzis that we're going to be making over here today. Any questions on anything that we just did?
We passed the Mishnah Berurah, so we do 7, 8, 11, 13?
Yeah, we do 7, 8, 11, 13. So that's definitely kedai to get down if you're making this, to know how many wraps. 7, 8, 11, 13. The reasons and the logic we spoke out over there in the Mishnah Berurah on those recordings. That's what we did. Good. Yeah, well.
Said if it's shorter than it's bracha levatala, right?
Yeah.
Which means that you're not yet tzitzis.
Yeah. You have to be careful with the length.
What if, so, I mean, you could actually probably avoid the bracha levatala if you're married, you're on the talis gadol.
Right, so if you're wearing a talis gadol, so then you don't have a problem because you don't make the bracha on the talis gadol, you don't have a problem of bracha levatala.
But you're still not yet tzitzis.
It could be a little bit different then. Yeah. Any other questions on anything that we just did? Okay, good. Now what we're going to do is we are going to make the fourth and the final corner of the tzitzis, and using all the halachas that we've been learning over the past really 2 months over the summer, the kayet zman, we learned all of hilchos tzitzis, so that's now we're going to apply them. So let's lay out the strings. You have 4 strings per corner because they fold over and then they turn into 8. We're going to lay them out right now. These strings, if you notice, the length is equal. Thank you. These strings, all the length is equal. Now this last string, the length is actually not equal. This is much longer. As you can see that it's draping down a lot longer on that side. Over here, this is how much they're draping now. I'm holding all of them, all of the ends are equal in my hand over here. Now if you notice, is one of the strings longer on that side?
Yes.
By a lot, right? Yeah, why is that? Because that's the string that we're going to use to wrap around all the other strings and to serve the purpose as the kerichos, like we just mentioned above on the numbers. So now we begin. And we say Lesham tzitzis, or Lesham mitzvas tzitzis. One or the other. Now, notice how we can't put all of the tzitzis strings through the corner at once, because since we put nail polish on the end of the tzitzis strings, it makes it hard to put all of them at once. So we'll do it one at a time. You have to just get the nail polish through, then you could put them all through. Okay, good. They're all through, they're pulled through. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to try to make them equal at the ends, and we're going to want to pull them at the same time and get them on the same length. Okay. Now, we want to try to even out both sides so that there's nice symmetry. After we're done making the wraps, and they're going to drape at the same length on both sides. That's what we want to do. Yeah. So just about equal over here. Yeah, there we go. Time for the pen. Okay, so now, let's cheshbon exactly where we're holding on the towels. This is the length, coming this way. This is the length. So what we want to do, if you look at the one on this side, you make it that the knot is going to be on the side, which we learned those halachas as well. You don't drape it directly down. We discussed that. So now we make the first knot. Now, we could stop the knot right there, but then that could fall down on the side over here. So what we do is we make it a little bit tighter, like this, so that it won't fall down. Your last, now you don't have the proper shuir in between the edge of the garment and the hole. The answer is no, you do have the proper shuir. That's not a problem. Because once it's just, if we want, we could just do that. That's still the proper shuir. It's not going to be a problem. We learned that above. Even though right now it's diminished from the proper shuir, it's still okay. Because when it started, it was the proper shuir. So you make one knot and then you make a second knot. Just before we make the second knot, let's just measure to make sure that they're the same size over here. Okay, so this one is a little bit longer. So now what we want to do is just move it over a little bit more and give this side more slack. We're going to try to make them equal. Yeah, just pull it a little bit more, adjust it. Huh? Yeah, we got it. Okay, there we go. So now they're just about equal. Yeah, now they're pretty much equal. Pretty much equal, that's good. Okay, so that's one knot that we made. Now let's make the second knot. This is the knot that's going to really strengthen it.
No, it's really not. Before it's above.
Yeah, now it's mamish, it's going to stay. This is a real knot. This is the first knot in the tzitzis, in the corner. Yeah? Good. Now what you do is we start with the wraps. Here we go. Now the first wrap is how many?
7.
7. That's according to everyone, pretty much. Very good. So, let's find the end of this. Okay, here we go. Okay, so what you do is you take all the other 7 strings, which are just about equal, and you want to line them up till the end. Then you start the wrap.
Now, which is the first wraparound? Tell me.
Right over here. We'll say that.
Clockwise or counterclockwise?
Clockwise or counterclockwise. To tell you the truth, I really didn't see that brought down at all. But we'll do it.
Now you're going clockwise.
This is we'll do it clockwise.
They said that it could be either way as long as you keep it consistent.
Yeah, either way, it's not brought down. You want to keep it consistent. Okay.
So you just, how many did you do? You did only 2 now, right?
Yeah, so we're going to count at the end. You don't start counting yet. We'll count at the end. Because I have to tell you a trick when it comes to the final knot. Now, you want to try to make the wraps tight so that they won't get undone. Also, you make them nice and tight. Now, if you notice, there's a lot of slack right now in this extra string. But as we continue with the wraps, then the size of the slack will decrease, obviously, because it's going to be used and it's going to be quicker and easier to maneuver and to make these wraps. Okay, almost there. So you gotta make it tight. Now, if you watch it, this is the first way to learn. But the real way to only do it is if you do it on your own. Okay, so now we can already stop to count. It seems like we're good. So we'll start counting from right over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. So let's undo 1. Now let's count again. Watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now 8. Now I'm leaving 8, an extra one, on purpose, because that 8 is going to fall out once we make the knot. Watch this. Where's the... Okay, here. Let's get the wrapping string. This is the wrapping string, right over here. I'm going to give it another 3 strings, the ones that are closest to it. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to make a knot. We're going to make 2 knots over here thank you. We're going to make 2 knots over here before we go to the next wraparound. Just a regular knot. Yeah. Regular knot. Nothing fancy. Okay, now, before we make a double knot, let's count to make sure that the proper amount of knots are left over here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh, that 8th
So that 8th one got out.
tagged along with
Exactly. That's the trick. That's the trick. You have to leave an extra one because when you knot it, it just goes off. That's the trick. At least the way that I just knotted it, the standard way to wrap. Now that first knot's a little bit tricky, but the second one is very easy. Once you have the first one, the second one is like it's like a regular, you're lacing a shoe over here. Just an easy, simple knot. See? There we go. That's the first wrap on the tzitzis. Now we move to the second one. There we go.
Did you make a double knot now?
Yeah, this is a double knot. Double knot. Now, here's our string. This is the long one. This is the one that we're going to use to wrap. There it is. Here we go. Now what we do is we take the 7 strings, we lay them out nicely like this. Yeah. Now, we begin again. Now how many are we doing this time?
8.
8, good.
And then do 9, and then have that last one fall out.
Yes, exactly. Now, it's noteworthy to point out, like we said above, that you will definitely gain a lot of ideas and clarity on how to make the tzitzis by watching over here. But the idea is that you yourself have to do it if you want to learn how. Right? You can't just watch me daven Shemona Esrei and then you're going to be Yotzei Shemona Esrei. It's not going to work that way. If you really want to do it, so then you need to actually experience it yourself. See, I'm trying to do them tight.
Is there a problem doing it too tight?
Is there a problem with doing it too tight? No. Just don't rip the tzitzis strings. If you do it too tight, you're going to pull and it's going to rip. As long as they don't rip, there's no problem. No. Just make sure, try not to make them overlap. Try not to make them rip.
Are you holding it down with your two fingers? Will the kerichos stay tight?
Yeah, the kerichos stay tight because I'm using my thumb and my pointer finger on my left hand, and that's keeping the kerichos in their position. And while I'm holding it, that's when I'm using my right hand to use the other string to twirl it around. Good question.
You may have mentioned this.
Yeah.
Not sure if you have, but when you make each knot, you also have to say the same.
No. Just the first time. Just the first time before you insert it in the.
That was what made it as
Yeah.
smart as you were saying. Was that
Just the first
say
time.
it.
They say it after every knot?
Yeah.
Or before every knot?
Yeah.
Really? Pashtus is that just before you insert in the tzitzis, it lasts the whole time. Okay.
Because you can't make a hefsek actually. Make speaking speaking is a hefsek.
Okay, now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. If you start schmoozing with somebody while you're doing it, you got to say Lesham mitzvah tzitzis again. Someone comes up to you like, "What do you want for lunch?"
Right, preferably you shouldn't focus on what you're
You
doing.
should say it again.
Okay, now let's stop and count how many we're up to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Drop 1. We want the 9. We want 1 extra for the wrap. Okay, we dropped 1. Now we're at 9. Take the 3 tzitzis strings that are closer to the big one.
You gonna wear these something outside of your garment today?
What'd you say? Am I going to wear this today?
Yeah.
I'm probably going to wear it tomorrow.
I gotta say your garment.
Oh, outside my garment? No, I'm probably going
Why
to
don't you say it for Yantiv, for Shoshana?
save it for your Rosh Hashanah.
Shoshana
We'll
and
see.
Kippur.
We'll see.
That'd
We'll
be
see.
nice.
Okay, now. Okay, let's stop to get it. Let's tighten this a little bit, and then we'll count how many we're holding. Okay, now let's count how many wraps on this kericha we have. Remember, what's the number that we're looking for? 8. Here we go. 1, 2. Do it with the pencil. That would be better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's exactly how many wraps we need. Now we're going to do a double knot over here to strengthen the kesher, the knot. And then we're going to move to kericha number 3. Okay, this is the 3rd knot. Yeah. Good. Now we go to number 3. We're always looking for the long one. There it is. Straighten the strings out a little, the chutin, sets of strings. Now we go again. Now we're getting longer. We're going up. Right? Gemara and Shabbos Chaf Aleph, Malim v'Kodesh ve'in Moridin. When we go up in Kedusha. In Chanukah candles, we go up. Paskin like Hillel. Beis Hillel. So with the sister strings, now we're going up. Okay, let's stop and get a cheshbon where we're holding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. One more. 12, and then it's going to be minus 12 when we minus 1 when we make the knot, because that's how it works. When you make a knot, you lose one. Okay, so now let's get. There we go. There we go. Now it's getting easier because the strings are getting shorter. Yeah. There we go. Now let's count to make sure that we're good. Let's count it up. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's our 11. Now we go to the last kerichot. Oh, well, we have to do a double knot first. Chaim, you're making sure the rest of the corners are kosher?
I just have a question.
Yeah, sure.
Like over here,
Yeah.
this is not a full.
Let's count it. Let's count it. Let's see. This is the third corner, so there should be 11. There should be 11. So let's count it.
See, the question is where you're counting from, you know?
You count from, so right over here is where it starts, so right before it starts,
Okay.
you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Look at that last one. The last one is. Oh, it is. That's 12.
Yeah. Okay, good. That's the double knot. That's on the third kerichot. Now we are going to go to the fourth and the final kerichot on the tzitzis. So now if you notice, the strings, they got a lot shorter. The chutim of the tzitzis. Parrots is because we use them. They get smaller. But you can still see this one's just a little bit bigger than all the other ones. And this is the one that we're going to be using to make the kerichos, to make the
Probably
wraps.
ends up being the smallest.
That will actually end up being the
Really?
smallest. Yeah. When it's handmade, that's usually how it is. Yeah. Let's just make sure this is the correct one.
Machine? I don't know they tie it with
They
machine.
make it on machine, no?
Are you kidding? How could you make that on a machine?
They don't make it on machine?
The machine can't do this, right?
I thought they do by machine.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that they do.
It must have a bunch of polo guys.
No. A
Like
physical,
Hoshayashi.
a physical machine, not a.
I think
How
it
should
would
I
cost a
actually
lot
do?
more also. It'd be a lot more expensive.
Yeah, but how can the machine do the shema?
That's what I thought. Avi, they use machines or no?
I have no idea.
You don't know?
The machine can't do the
You gotta
shema.
call Keter.
No, there's a shaila in that chodim. You know, before they push the button on the machines, pressing the shema for making the
No, maybe
materials
like
also.
matzah, maybe like
Like
machine
matzah.
matzah.
Yeah, like
is
matzah.
such a thing.
I don't know if they can do it. I don't think a machine could do this.
No? Maybe not.
Robots.
Maybe
Yeah,
not.
but they do have baked machines.
You could just use a sticky glue.
You could use some
Sticky
Special kind of glue.
Okay, so maybe they don't, I guess. The point is, the ones that you get in the stores, they're usually much, the kerichos and the wraps around, they're usually much tighter than the ones that we're dealing with over here.
You have thick ones. Thick you can't get as tight as little ones.
Yeah, thick are good because also the thin ones, sometimes they can snap.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do? You do. That's when you have to watch out for your psuma on the ones.
Yeah, this is, so right around this time, the big string that we started with is getting to be the smallest.
The ones you're wearing now,
Diminishing.
are they thin strings or thick? What you're wearing right now?
They're either thick or, there's probably thick. We got a lot over here. Oh boy.
Is there like a thing that's not counting while you're doing it, or you just.
Yeah, I usually don't count.
Why?
I don't know.
I'm saying, can you?
You could count, yeah.
Okay.
I usually don't for some reason, I don't know. Okay. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. One more just because it goes off on the wrap. 14. And now we proceed to the second to last knot. Here we go. Okay, let's count them. Now, keep in mind that this count is going to be higher in numbers than the other counts. This is going to be 13. Do not draw in your tzitzis. This pencil is closed. It's only being used as a pointer. Note. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, we got him. Now we will proceed to do the last knot on the tzitzis. And then I'll have a kosher new beged to wear. Yeah, new tzitzis. Okay. I'm going to try to do this. This last knot should be a little bit tighter than all the other knots, because you don't want this one to get undone, because this is where it starts. If it starts getting undone, then the whole thing could start to untie. So that's the tzitzis. So that's what it is. So now, just tighten this a little bit from the bottom. Yeah, see it's coming up a little bit over here. Yeah. So now, if you look at the ends, so they're pretty much equal at the ends. It's okay. This side's a little bit shorter, but it's okay. It's okay. That's what it is. So now you have a good tzitzis. You have 7, 8, 11, 13. Any questions whatsoever on how to make tzitzis? On the beged itself.
So what is the...
This beged is made out of... Now this beged is made out of wool. Just before you ask the question. This beged is made out of wool. Okay, we learned about that in Siman Tes, wearing wool, other items. It's a machlokes rishonim in the Gemara and Menachos also. We learned Machaber Ramah, exactly how we hold. We learned the Achronim. This is wool. What do you say?
What's the approximate size that we have to do?
This is a 22-incher.
That's what I heard.
This is a 22-incher. Now, if you go back to the shitas that we discussed on the amount of inches that the beged has to be, so if you have 18 inches or more, you cover every single shita except for the stringent opinion within the second opinion. You cover basically 3 out of 4 opinions if yours is 18 inches or more. If you have 18 inches or less, you have a shiloh. And if you're able to wear 24 inches, that's obviously the best. You're going to cover pretty much everyone.
If you're a short guy and
Right.
whole sheet
If you're a shorter person,
If you're short, so then you have the 18 inches.
What about kids? What about a guy who's 14 years old?
So kids, they're not. Once it's after,
14-year-old.
so once it's after bar mitzvah, it's a little bit different. It's 14, and really the mam is very short. Whatever, so then you have the 13.5 inches. But you already have, you do have shilohs over there, because according to 3 out of 4 shitas, you're not going to be good.
You don't need to wear
That could be more if you could afford. 14 you're due once you're over 13.
and a tall guy, like 6'2", he wanted to reach his waist. That's we're trying to get it by his belt.
6'2". There's no shiloh how really long it could be, as long as it fits on a person.
But even a shorter.
This guy's 24 feet, so then he could wear one that's going to be much bigger.
Okay, but a guy who's 5'6" or 5'4", he still should wear one at 24 if he could.
Not a 24, 18 inches.
18 up. 18 up. 18 is the
up.
minimum.
Minimum, yeah.
So he should go per side. It should reach his belt. That's
Yeah.
18 plus.
Do these black on the tzitzis mean anything? So,
No. Okay.
yeah, I mean, it's here. Right?
nice.
Do you need it? You don't need it. It's nice. Why is it here? You have to look into that a little bit more. I'll tell you, when it comes to tefillin, the tefillin being black, that's halacha Moshe Sinai. This is probably a little bit different. But yeah. So then this is the whole garment. This is the whole garment, all 15 over here. And the tzitzis package with the strings says Tavuyas Gavra Kafu Shmonu Lesham mitzvas tzitzis, and it says Mehagiza Menufat Lishma. This is from ניפוץ tzitzis Lishma. That's it.
Can you show us? How much they cost?
The tzitzis?
Point to where to look. Where do you look?
Oh, where it says ניפוץ Lishma?
Yeah.
Right over there.
Oh, this is
It's on
kind of small.
YouTube.
Oh, meat.
What?
ניפוץ.
We discussed it
Oh,
right
that's small
before you
print
came.
right there. Okay.
Yeah.
That's with a mem, right? I thought it was
I
a
almost
nun.
would have missed that.
Yeah.
ניפוץ?
ניפוץ.
That was neat.
It says Menufats.
Oh.
Menufats.
Wow.
Most people, like we said, do not get the ניפוץ. Okay.
Any final words to anyone watching this?
Any final words to anyone watching? You yourself need to make the tzitzis. You can't watch me daven Shemona Esrei and then you're going to be Yotze. You can't watch me just learning. You yourself have to sit down and learn. You got to make the tzitzis. That's my final words.
Okay.